Welcome to Franchise Canada Chats, the podcast that takes you inside the world of Canadian franchising. I'm Renée Boudakian, founder and CEO of Rubicon Franchise Partners, and your host for Season 9. This season, we're going beyond the business model to uncover the real stories of franchise owners, the risks they took, the lessons they learned, and the successes they built. Join us as we sit down with franchisees, their franchisors, and industry experts to discuss emerging trends, cutting-edge technologies, and operational strategies shaping the future of franchising. Whether you're thinking about buying your first or next franchise, this podcast is your inside track to franchise success in Canada. Today on Franchise Canada Chats, we're joined by Priya Vadivel, a multi-unit franchisee with British Swim School in Ontario. It's only been a couple of years since Priya began franchising with British Swim School in 2023, but already she's grown her business to 7 locations, 3 in Scarborough and 4 in Midtown Toronto. While she always wanted to be an entrepreneur, Priya never saw the benefits of the franchise business model. But when she was introduced to British Swim School, that all changed. In our conversation today, we'll learn what won her over to this flexible, scalable business model and how she's making a splash with her swim schools. So let's dive in. Priya, welcome to Franchise Canada Chats.
Thank you for having me, Renee.
It's my pleasure, our pleasure. So I am so excited to get into your story today, Priya, and have you share with our listeners your journey, which has just been a couple of years in franchising, but really how you've accelerated to an impressive 7 locations. So I'd love to hear a little bit before 2023, what was your life like before franchising? What was your career background?
So yes, basically I'm an information technology graduate from India. So I have had a successful career in the field of the study that I had, which is the software development. And I have been doing that job since 2006. So it's been almost 18 years before I deep dive into the starting up the franchise business, frankly, right? So, but since my university days, I always had an aspiration to become a business owner or an entrepreneur in my life. So that kind of a thirst gave me a turning point in my life in 2003 or say late 2022 as well. So I started exploring some of the options and that's how it became. So I'm also a mom of 2 kids, 2 daughters. Basically, they are 5 and 12 years old. So I'm happy to be a successful mom besides my successful franchise business that I have. So yeah, so that's about me. That's how I've been doing. Like it's a 9 to 5 typical job, going to office and coming back home and stay with the family. That's the kind of thing I was having the life. But I always had an aspiration, as I said, to get into the business world. But I never thought that it's going to be a franchise business. Frankly speaking, we'll talk more about it in the next couple of minutes. So, but yes, that's about me.
And I'd love to know, so you mentioned you had really early aspirations to becoming an entrepreneur. What about entrepreneurship drew you in and made you want to pursue this pathway of business ownership?
So yeah, so like I have been developing the skills to become an entrepreneur, since my early days because it was always in me that even I get I get to do something successful path or even get the employee of the month, something like that in my career. It didn't make me that I have done what I needed to do in my life, until I really hit that. Paths to become an entrepreneur. So I have been always developing the skills that's needed to become an entrepreneur. Get the leadership skill, get the core values of a leader. How to be a leader, how to guide the team, how to form the team, and how to get it. And as I said, I have been always thinking about starting a business from scratch, and that also adds some value to the community. So the turning point that franchise is the best option for me came into my life. Actually it came at the right moment, so I took the right choice, thanks to the franchise Canada or the other resources that helped me to refer the documentation or some of the videos and the information that guided me. Okay, franchise is the option that I should go. So, but yes, that's how it started.
So you initially, do you recall what was that initial way that you found out about the franchising pathway? Was it through a trade show that you attended? Was it from a family friend? How did you go from thinking about starting a business from scratch to learning about franchising in the first place?
So basically, I never used to attend the franchise show because of the myth that I had in my mind, right? But I met with my friend who have a British Film School ownership. He's one of the franchise owner. So I went to meet him, and he has been always telling me, or motivating me to start the franchise business, right? So it took me really quite some time to really listen to him and pay attention to what he really trying to say to me. And then that's the moment I started looking into the more detailed data or the information, or it's more about what franchises, right? The support model, there's a huge difference between starting from scratch and you start with the established brand and the bigger landscape that's already widened in the market or in the community, right? And something that also brings adding value to the community, right? That you give back to the community. So looking at all this model and support, it really impressed me. I mean, that was like an eye opener for me in my life, I should say, that I should be opening a franchise business. And frankly speaking, it's because it's a franchise business, I'm able to open 7 locations in a shorter time because I have been receiving all the support I need from the franchise model. It could be anything like sales support, training support, hiring support, marketing support. What else? Like how to use the system, or I mean, at the end of the day, it comes with a well renowned a product or a brand, right? So you just have to be part of the system and get going,
Love
right?
that.
Yeah.
Love that. And I'd love to just take a moment to touch on some of those myths, maybe that if you let me repeat that. And I'd love to take a moment to just touch on some of those myths that may have been, in your mind. What were some of those myths about franchising that you had early on or misconceptions?
Thank you for asking this. So actually, I wanted to share that, honestly. So basically, the myth I had was, why should I work hard and pay somebody? I think, I mean, from my teens, right, like or the early 20s, I always have this in my mind. I'm going to put a lot of effort. I'm going to run the show, and why am I, going to pay some royalty to somebody? Or what is that they're going to offer me, um, um, that's something that I'm going to benefit from. That's a very very common myth that I was carrying it for quite a long time in my life, right? So I didn't really see the benefit of the brand or the product that each franchisor bring in. So with all that, that was the common myth that I have been having in my mind until I spoke with my friend, and also and when I explored multiple franchise options before I get into British school. So with all that, I realized that yes, franchise is something that you come up with a lot of support, a lot of background and hand holding as needed, and also you get to be free and freedom as needed as well, right? So you get to do kind of a very dynamic environment that you're going to explore and enjoy in the franchisor world.
I think that that's so well said. And truly, I think the level of support that a great franchisor provides to their franchisee is not really, you can't even really understand it fully until you are in need of that support, until you're in the system and in need of it. And I think it's so valuable that you had really an insider, your friend who was already a franchisee in British swim schools, which opened your probably open your mind to this franchise opportunity. But as you said, you were exploring other opportunities as well. And so I'd love to learn a little bit more about the research that you did. What was some of the criteria that you were using to evaluate these franchise opportunities? What were some of the things that were important that the brand has for you to say yes to the opportunity?
Yeah, that's a very good question. So basically, there are a couple of things I did explore before I finalize on this is the brand I wanted to go. So a couple of things are like, what is the brand recognition, right? How far is that brand recognized in the market, and what are the supports that they provide, right? I know every franchisor operates little bit different from each other. So what is that kind of a system that adapts me, right? So, for example, their business model, their ongoing support, ongoing training, how much they help us in marketing, the local marketing in the of the brand, and how much complaints assistance do we get from the franchisor, and what is the community involvement, right? So those are the things I have been evaluating. Also, like I had a let's say I had a about 10 franchises that I have started with. I started narrowing down the list, and then I was also looking what is the kind of franchise that I wanted to work from the support perspective, from the training, scalability, growth opportunities, uh, you know, uh, just to say one example, usually franchises are like a sold in a territory basis, right? So you buy a territory and you open one location, right? And that's the sum of the franchises model. Some franchises sell you an area or a territory, and you are allowed to open as many number of locations as you want, but there are still certain regulations and standards that we still have to apply. But those are the things that we consider, right? And also you need to also, I would recommend that you take a look at the demographic information pertaining to the kind of franchise or business you wanted to open. If it is like senior citizens oriented, how many seniors live, or how many kids live if it's a kids related business, or if you open a coffee related business, what are the kind of community people that you're going to cater, how much you have. So those are the different kind of a demographic information I also analyze. And also the cost benefit analysis, right? How much cost it involves to operate such business in certain area. It varies from location to location too, right? So all those kind of a homework I have been done, and I would also recommend this for any new prospective owners to do.
That I think that's fantastic, and it sounds like brand recognition, the ability to grow within the territory, the support systems, and community involvement. British Swim Schools checked all the boxes for you, and so that's why it was the one. You mentioned about cost. I would love to talk a little bit about capital and your experience of how did you gather the capital to invest in the business, and potentially what pathways did you go down to gathering that initial investment? I know that that's a question that a lot of folks have when starting a business, is just how have other people gathered the capital to make it happen for themselves. So I'd love to hear a little bit about your journey and how you made that happen from the capital perspective to invest in the business.
Yep, sure. So um, from the capital perspective for my own business, I have been saving for a while, but I definitely wanted a helping hand at one point. So it's also a good recommendation that the prospective franchisees look into those analysis as well with each franchisor that they're going to be looking at, right? The prospective franchisor that they wanted to look at. So some of the franchises, they come up with the support model with various financial institutions, that because of the brand recognition, some of the financial institutions voluntarily provide such support, right? So I have been looking at those as well. So with British Film School, in within 24 hours, I was given the access to the bank, and it was a very smooth process. So Also, I was also very particularly looking at the low investment model, which many of the new business owners or the upcoming business owners that they look because of the financial constraint that they want to start small, but they would like to have a scalability within the business, or that's the model most of them look. So that's also I was looking like how much investment initially and an ongoing basis, right? So looking at all that, I figured out British school is requires a less initial uh, to start with, capital to start with, and also an ongoing the cost is also not tremendously high or something that's so scary to me. No, right?
Sure.
So that's the thing. Yeah.
And so it sounds to me like when it came to the capital, your pathway was a combination of savings and also a combination of getting a loan through the bank, which you strongly feel that the brand recognition allowed you to get access to those funds pretty quickly. It's kind of like maybe, I don't know if this is the right analogy, but if you think about a mortgage for buying a house, you need to have some amount for the down payment, but then you get a portion of it, your mortgages with the bank. And so you kind of have to have both sides if you don't have 100% of it saved, which I think is pretty common for most people. Okay, so I think that's incredibly helpful. And so you did your research, you then narrowed it down. You knew British Swim School was the one. You had the capital, which was a combination of savings and loan. Then you said you signed on the dotted line and you became a franchisee and you paid them the franchise fee, the one-time franchise fee, to become the franchisee of that brand for that particular territory. And my next question is onboarding. What did the onboarding process look like from the moment that you signed on the dotted line to got your first school open? What did that support and onboarding experience look like with British Swim School?
So the onboarding experience that I had with the British Film School was really professional and very structured, frankly speaking, because this was my first business, right? And it was kind of relying more or dependent more on the franchisor, right? So they were having a kind of an organized team structure, and also kind of a passing on kind of a thing. So someone receives you, right? Onboard you for the first step, provides you an overview, and it's kind of an onboarding team, right? They make sure that you are not bombarded with a lot of information. At the same time, you are taking it responsible and serious about what you're doing, right? And they were welcoming a lot of questions, and that's how it moved on. So, and it had several phases just in the onboarding itself with the British Film School, right? So they even helped me to do again the competitor analysis, for example, right, which I did as part of the onboarding, as part of the uh, selecting the franchisor. But they asked me to do it again more detail, including the cost of the competitor, the locations, and the market and stuff. And that was also part of the onboarding, which was very interesting to me because I thought initially I'm reinventing the wheel, but I figured out a lot more learnings from that exercise, right? And they once that is done, they let us know what are the applications that they need to get access to, what are the online trainings, and it was a smooth. So basically, I did not feel that I was stressed or it's becoming out of my way. It's nothing like that. So they were helping us. They as part of the onboarding, they also recommended me to find the possible locations that where I could establish the swimming locations, right, as the first step. And as part of the onboarding, also I received the business coach coming down personally to meet and do the pool scouting, for example, right? So those are the tremendous support I could see in every walk of my onboarding process, that the British Swim School wanted the franchisee to succeed, right? That's the kind of feeling that so they don't want the motivation to go down. So that's more important to get it like that, to expect from the franchisor, that you sync the compatibility of what you want and what you are going to get it from your franchisor matches as and when needed, at least most of the time. right? So
I think that's great. And can you share, because British Swim School has a non-brick and mortar model, so you don't need to go and build your own swimming pool. You can go into the community and partner with community partners like let's say a community center, I would assume would be an example, who already have pools built and you can run your classes there. From the time that you began onboarding to open your very first location, what did that timeline look like for you?
so very interestingly, British Film School have a master agreement with all the LA Fitness locations.
Hmm.
Right. So in my area that I'm operating, I have two LA Fitness. So that was kind of a immediate win for me, like a low hanging fruit, right? I submitted my application and it became like available to me in a matter of 2 months, right? So, and that's the 2 months I have been training, onboarding, and getting like establishing my team to get going, right? So that's how it was have been working. So um, other than that, there are other locations that I operated. Some of them are in the public schools, community centers. But yes, it was quick. It's also very important for any new prospective employee, franchisee, to see the collaboration or the establishment that they have with other businesses in the market. For example, Starbucks operates inside Loblaws, for example, right? So British Film School operates inside LA Fitness. It's a given. If you have a location that your business is entire or like having a master agreement to operate, so it's kind of a win situation for you. So those are the things that you need to look before you opt or like considering in taking a franchise opportunity.
Yeah, I think that that is amazing because it comes back to brand recognition and having these national contracts really with that as a small, even if you were to open Priya's swim school, you would not necessarily have that same contract with LA Fitness because it's already with British Swim School. So that's a great point to make that taking a look to see what kind of relationships the brand already has that they have been able to establish, which being a new franchisee, you get to step into that and really collapse what might take, another independent person years to really establish a relationship like that. You get to come in and 2 months in, already have your location at an LA Fitness really open to you. So I think that that is amazing. Um, I'd love to ask you, Priya, now that you have been in the franchisee seat for about 2.5 years, what is your favorite part about being a franchisee in the British Swim School system?
So leadership is, of course, how I mean, I, I have a strong passion from my young age that I want to be a good leader. So I'm so passionate about doing the leadership that I wanted to make sure that I'm being a good leader, make the team grow and guide the team and empower them and make sure that that they value and they contribute and we all succeed together in the system, right? So definitely leadership is something that I still learn a lot about how to be a good leader, because leadership is kind of, people still say leaders are born not made, and there is some people say leaders are made not born, but it's kind of a mix. Leaders are born, but you have to be ongoing learning based on how the people around you evolve with the different generation people, right? The millennials versus the people born now, it varies. So you need to be really getting into the dynamics of the generations and involve and contribute to be a better leader, right? And the next most significant and the favorite part that I enjoy, sorry, I'm adding one more to it. So the like I love to hear from my customers when they are satisfied or contented with the product that we offer, right? I love when my parents come say thank you for your patience and helping my child to be water safe, right? So I love it. I get that. I mean I get very contented with that. There's nothing else I need just in front of that, right? I thank my team for bringing that bringing that kind of a hard work and stuff. All that, without them, it's not possible. So the moment I hear a parent um, saying that we contributed a lot for their, for teaching swimming to their kids' life, being water safe, that's more important. It's an essential skill, right? When parents say that my son was afraid of water after coming to British Swim School, thank you so much, and now he loved coming, he enjoys the water. That's another biggest satisfaction that I always enjoy, and significant thing that I feel in my business.
I think that's so amazing. And being a mom to three, my kids are 10 and under. And I put my kids in swimming as soon as I humanly could, really when they were at age of two. And it's such an important skill because you just don't. I've seen two sides of it. I've actually seen the side of it where kids don't know how to swim, which makes me feel very nervous because it is a life skill to have. It's a life saving skill to have. I also see how those who don't learn how to swim when they're young are fearful of water as adults. And that's my mom. She doesn't know how to swim. And so she gave me that gift of learning how to swim, and me and my siblings, and I've given that to my children too. So um, I can absolutely see how parents come and the thanks and the gratitude that they have that you have a business that's providing this really essential life-saving skill, and how confident those children must be in knowing that they have the skills to actually work in the water and keep themselves safe, because as you said, it's all about water safety. So I love that. I'd love to I'd love to switch gears a little bit and kind of talk about your evolution, because you began as a single unit owner and really quickly started to open multiple locations, now up to seven. And I don't think you have any plans to slow down anytime soon. Um, I'd love
So
to hear about the difference, how your role has evolved. First being opening your first swim school, and then how it evolved opening multiple, and what does that look like for you from going from one to two to five to seven. Give us a little bit of insight as to how your role has evolved.
sure. So the main reason I was able to open multiple locations, first of all, right, is because it's franchise business, right? Um, the product was strong, and as long as you are abiding or adapting to the brand, and that's what the franchisor expects at the end of the day, that you stay with the brand, right? And you bring that to the team and you deliver it to the customer. You gain confidence in the first location and then the second location. And then, I mean, as I said, I had two LA Fitness locations, right? So that's how I started. And then I also figured out more schools, and so basically, sometimes it's hard to find location, and sometimes it's easy. In my way, I was getting a couple of proposal that I can open swim locations in certain areas. It's up to me to decide if I wanted to take that risk, or just go one at a time, right? So I did the risk analysis to see, should I be taking as it comes, on my way, and or should I just say no to some of the opportunities, right? So that's very crucial in the business, at what point, what kind of risk you take, and also the decision making. You should be good in decision making, taking the right decision at the right time. A delayed decision could lead to missing opportunities, right? So as I build relationship with the community people, community leaders, looking for more pools to open, it opened up more doors for me, and I was playing the role of evaluating the risk around it, and making sure that I'm making the acceptable risks. There is no business without a risk, but I need to make sure that I learn the risk that I'm taking, and I'm backing up as well. Like, I have a backup. What if option one goes wrong, option two goes wrong, and how much is the cost that it involves? And then it helped me to open the location after the other. I didn't want to lose the opportunity, unless I see it's a complete risk that it's going to impact. So that's how I moved from one location to another as quickly as possible, right? And also it's also, how much it's also the benefit of being a franchisee. You have a brand and a product that's established. If you are starting your own brand from scratch, you take time to put your feet strong and stand, and that's like a kind of, you have to establish your brand before you open multiple locations. Because you are a franchisor, it is easy for, if you look at in the market, many franchisees in the world have multiple locations, because it's because of the brand and the model and the training and whatever, sales, whatever training you get from the head office
Right.
or from the other franchise owners around you. You form a community of franchise owners of your own brand as well as other brands, where you get to learn a lot, explore a lot, and make use of it, all the opportunities that comes to you. So that's how it happened from one location to seven.
Love that. And what would you say would be some of the largest benefits? I think you've touched on them a little bit, but in your own words, what would you say is some of the largest benefits of being a multi-unit owner? But also, what are some of the challenges in growing so quickly?
So see, the main important benefit of having a multi-unit ownership is that it's obviously it's the growth, right? That's what every business owner is aspiring to achieve, right? So it gives you the possibility to grow, gain the financial stability and the expansion and the success, and you create more brand value um, back, so, and you start serving the community more, right? So those are the benefits of multi-unit ownership, right? But it comes with challenges, of course. Anything that you do, most of the time it comes with the challenges, but you should be having a skill, or build a skill, or keep it as an ongoing learning process to identify the challenges as early as possible, and also find the solution to it, right? What could be the possible solution, foresee ahead of the time, right? For example, it takes time to manage multiple locations, right? I, as a owner or as a manager, you cannot have seven managers, right? Or you can have seven managers. It depends upon how big your business is, right? So how do you do the time management, right? So yes, the solution is delegation, right? Delegate and kind of a thing. So continuous learning and training, what helps the team to operate simultaneously in multiple locations, right? Without compromising the quality, the brand, or the service that you provide to your customers, so and also as a multi-unit ownership comes into picture for a owner, it also involves organizing your organizational structure, right? You come up
Mm.
with, okay, so this is your HR team, this is your onboarding team, this is your training team, this is your supervisor, managers, staffs, so new hires. How do you onboard them? Because you are now multi-level, and so you need to know exactly at what point in your business you need to come up with your organization structure, and whether you need to expand horizontally or vertically, right? All those important aspects that we need to identify and just go. That's a key in multi-unit ownership.
I think that is so well said. And it sounds like it would be fair to say owning multiple units means that you really are taking on more of a management role and managing people. And it sounds like when you were mentioning supervisors as well, at each one of your locations, is that your structure that you have a supervisor that reports up to you?
Yes. So basically, because it's a swimming business, we have a kind of a lifeguard or a first responder. They also act as a supervisor, or we call it deck ambassadors sometimes. So depending upon what accreditations that they have. Some of them are lifeguard certified. Some of them are good in customer service. We give them the role to perform at a particular location, right? So we give them the scheduling based on what kind of skill set they come up with, and we also provide them a training to get the one that, like, maybe they want to become a lifeguard, right? We give them the training, we provide them the support, and to become a deck ambassador, right? How to do a customer service, we can give them the training as well. So that's how we manage them parallelly.
What would you say is one of the most important lessons that you've learned about management and as you've expanded managing in your own business? I know in your previous career you also managed people, but what is that important lesson that you've learned about management?
So, um, as I said, like, leadership is or the is very key in managing a team, right? Uh, so you want your team to enjoy working with you, to learn and to contribute back, right? So that's more important to be in a managerial role, right? So even the managers would need to be trained and given a workshop and ongoing training. So British School offers a lot of ongoing training, like in a month, two workshops or two aquatic related courses training. So make sure that my team attends them and bring those information back to the sub team, the actual staffs who's going to be teaching the swim lessons. So those are all the kind of things that we need to incorporate when running the managing the business, right? So time management, how to be empathetic to the customer, how to do the customer service, how to make sure that the quality is rendered to the extent that it's needed, right? Because when parents come and pay for a service, they expect that they receive that quality back, right?
Mm-hmm.
We have to manage every single. So basically I have a department or kind of a team to address all these operations management, training, supervising, and the code team. Yes.
I think you must be a mind reader because one of my next questions was going to be any tips to franchisees to hone leadership skills, but you kind of listed off a bunch of them, about having to be a good leader. I think you need to be empathetic. To be a good leader, you need to have excellence in your service that you're offering. To be a good leader, you need to also make sure that you're upholding those standards. You're a good communicator. You're consistently training and up leveling your skill set. So, now that you know the question, anything else you would add to that? Any tips for new franchisees trying to hone or prospective franchisees trying to hone their leadership skills? I think you might be one of those that you said leaders are born and leaders are made. You're probably the both. You're a born leader who has developed over time as well.
Right, exactly. So basically, one of the biggest advantage of being a franchisee is because you're coming up, you are taking a brand that's already established, right? So, um, as a leadership, as part of learning and becoming a good leader, it is important that you understand the structure or the support the franchisor offers, right? That's also important to be in the. You need to know what you're offering in order to be a good leader too, right? So attend the workshops, attend the webinars, or any other training opportunities offered by the franchisor on a regular basis. They may sound like, oh, I know them, I can spend this my time of the training that head office is looking at me, I can spend it on something else. No, I would really say, go attend those meetings and gather as much as information as you want. That's also part of the leadership. You can do the delegation, make sure one of your team members attend them, right? And then bring those knowledge back to the team. I mean, other than that, yes, as a leader, you need to make sure that you are lifting up your team, right? Or in all the way, you lift up your team, and at the end of the day, the team is going to deliver back to your customers, right? So you can be there physically every moment to serve your end client. So you groom your team in such a way that the team delivers even in your absence. Integrity, right? So
Mm-hmm.
as a leader, you need to see how you are going to develop and groom all these qualities in your team, right? So they grow with you, right? They have to feel that they grow with you. They are growing, and they value the workplace, so that all becomes part of their honing your leadership skills. um, it's a learning process. Yes, keep learning and you get it sometime.
Absolutely. So one thing I would love to go back to is you had mentioned that business is not without risk, and I would also say business is not without challenge as well. Even business ownership in a franchise can have its challenges. So I'd love to um, just have a touch on that as well, and have you share what are some of the challenges that you face being a business owner, and how do you face those challenges? How do you overcome those challenges in your business?
Sure, yes. So in British film school, there are challenges that comes with every layer that we, execute on day-to-day basis. For example, parents have a concern about the learning process or the learning curve. Why is it slow? Those kind of things. Starting from that, the staffs, so the staffs feel that they are in an environment where they feel they can grow much better, or they're looking for an opportunity to grow, learn. And those are the challenges, right? And also coming to the community, there are pool challenges, right? So there is a pool close, it can close anytime. What is the mitigation for those kind of risks, right? Let's say sometimes I get a call, like exactly 30 minutes before the lessons are going to start, right? So I would not wait. Most likely I have a mitigation plan all the time. If this pool is closed, okay, so the next one closer is here. And how to mitigate for the parents who are going to come in 30 minutes versus 2 hours from them, right? So those are the kind of challenges and we see. And also the financially, how do you sustain an ongoing basis? Of course you wanted to make a lot of profit and succeed and so on, so on. And the how do you have a financial backup to have your system on going up and running, right? Another important challenge as a business owner is how do I balance my personal life versus my business life, right? So yeah, so I make sure that I keep when I involve in the business, I train the team, I go watch and I provide constant feedback, and also spend time enjoying and contributing and be part of the team as much as I can. So when I'm with my family, I schedule a time, I make sure that I have a peaceful time, right? So, and also communication, right? Active sometimes communication creates an issue, some challenges, because the communication was not good. Actions speaks faster. So I make sure that I go in person and address some of the issues. I'm available to my team whenever they need. So if I have to go physically, I drive and get to the location, solve the issue. Sometimes parents or the end customers find it comfortable to talk to me directly because they find it more a comfortable and promising solution that it receives directly from me. So I try to cater all those needs that that is needed.
I think that that is super, helpful to know, and I also think that it speaks volumes to your attitude, your mindset of how you approach those challenges. It sounds like you're extremely proactive, already thinking about possible challenges that may come about and how you're going to face them, and how to integrate, work life balance as well. So I think that that's great. Um, I would love to ask, being a franchisee now for 2.5 years since 2023, what has franchising allowed you to experience or to achieve from a lifestyle perspective that maybe you could not when you were in a career, and now in contrast, business ownership?
I mean, this is a very good question. So basically, it's kind of being an employee versus a business owner, right? So you work for somebody. I mean, I remember my night shifts, like where I do the deployment in my IT field, like software. I have to be awake when people are sleeping. I need to make sure I work with the team to deploy a system and come up. I work very hard, right? To another employer, right? So it's so whereas as a business owner, right, you give an opportunity to another, like you have a team and you give them an employment, you give them an opportunity, and you grow with that. So that's a bigger difference, right? And from the lifestyle perspective, yes, it's a 9 to 5 job, right? And when you come home, you have a lot of time with your kids and stuff. but you dedicate that 8 hours minimum to your work, right? But in the business, I can go on vacation for a week if I want. That's kind of a flexibility I earned after, of course, I put a lot of sweat, like, blood and sweat in the beginning, until I establish, but later it's kind of, you find your own schedule, right? So that's a kind of like a bigger flexibility that the franchise business offers, right? Any business for that matter. So it's and so it's kind of a different lifestyle. So you were contributing to an organization where you were when I was in my IT job, and now I contribute to my own organization, and I have a bunch of people from the community that I groom and I give back to the community, directly. I can decide what I wanted to give back to the community and how far. That's a kind of a bigger satisfaction, contention in life that you wanted to achieve.
I think that that is so well said. And I often think about business ownership and businesses like babies. At the very beginning, they need a lot of love and attention, just like a newborn baby. But if you do a good job and you put in the time and the effort in the beginning, then the business, once your baby gets a little bit bigger, baby goes to preschool, the business affords you more of that. But I do believe that all business does take hard work, dedication, and consistency. And you then get to earn that opportunity to then have more flexibility and freedom in your lifestyle. So I'm so glad to hear that your hard work has paid off and is continuing to pay off as you continue to expand your swim school empire. Um, there is just one more question I would love to ask you, Priya, which is I'd love to know from your perspective, what is one truth about franchising that you know now that you didn't know when you first bought the business?
Right. So when I first bought the franchise business, I was actually having, as I said, right? Um, I initially was not a big fan of franchise business in first place, right? So it took me some time to really feel that franchise is the best thing or the right thing that would be that, and I wanted to take it in my life. Frankly speaking, yes, yeah. So that's how it was. So basically, um, it's. Um it's the uh, maybe I should put it more close to British school, right? Uh, I mean, as of this date, from the day I started, I have got tremendous support, which I was not aware actually. It would be this involved. You have someone a bigger. It's not one individual. It's a team that is giving you everything that they could do to have you succeed, right? That I did not realize fully to the extent until I started, right? I know that you're buying a brand. Yes, they are going to support you. What is the level of support, right? So it's more important that every new franchisee does this analysis. Um, that how much support are they going to get? Do they get the extent that they need? Because most of the business owners comes with various different backgrounds. Like, for example, I'm from IT background. I'm into swimming right now, like aquatic swim, right? So it's kind of the support that I receive is more crucial, right? That I didn't really expect that I'm going to be getting all the support that I need. Like I sent an email, I get response back in 4 hours, right? Or the next business day, right? That's more important for any. You need to have the constant touch, constant communication, constant support. Everybody gets a support, how quick it is, and how soon it is. Like, do you have a business coach that's assigned to you, who talks to you on an ongoing basis, right? And who touch base with you, even if you're doing good, and even if you're not looking for a help, right? To make sure, are you okay, you need anything, is it's something that big. It's something that you are running your own business from the scratch, and your family member is asking you. So you have a kind of a bigger family, right? And also the other bigger thing that I realized is the my relationship or the establishment with the co-franchise owners within the brand, also outside the brand. So we do have a conference and or on a regular touch base to share the experiences and the feedback. Those are something that I didn't foresee, frankly speaking. I did to an extent, but I see that that's a lot more that I'm receiving to the need I need with British School. So this is also important for any franchisee to review and do an analysis before they look for an a prospective franchisor.
Priya, thank you so much. It has been an absolute pleasure hearing about your story. And thank you very much for sharing your journey with British Swim Schools. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you on the Franchise Canada Chats podcast. And I hope for all listeners hearing in that they found the episode as valuable as I did.
Oh, thank you very much, Renee. So this is like a tremendous opportunity for me too to share my thoughts that I can contribute back to the upcoming management or the entrepreneurs. And I really appreciate the opportunity given to me today.
Thank you. Thanks for listening to Franchise Canada Chats. I'm Renée Boudakian with Rubicon Franchise Partners, and this podcast is produced by Joelle Kidd with the Canadian Franchise Association. Missed an episode? You can find Franchise Canada Chats on Spotify, SoundCloud, or wherever you get your podcasts. For expert insights, success stories, and franchise opportunities, visit franchisecanada.online. And while you're there, subscribe to Franchise Canada e-News, a trusted resource for aspiring franchisees looking to achieve their dreams and build their franchise future. If you're exploring franchise ownership, check out lookforafranchise.ca or learn more about franchising at cfa.ca. Thanks again for listening. We'll see you next time.